The details of this story is really going to have you baffled. This girl was strangled to death, but seen alive before she died of strangulation. I know, it's crazy. Let's get into it. First, I'd like to welcome you back to my channel. I appreciate all the comments and positive feedback. If you're new here, I'd like to say welcome. We talk about true crime. When you feel I've earned it, you go ahead and click that subscribe button, and you can be part of our community too. Now let's get into it. The story starts off in Austin with an amazing woman. Her name is Jessica. She's very driven. She has 2 jobs. She works at a grocery store, and she has another job as a nurse. She's training to be a nurse full time, but it's a long journey. She was actually saving for her master's degree and doing a good job of it too. She was always positive about everything. Even when people would laugh at her, she would just laugh with them. She would always look for the happy parts of every situation. All her friends loved hanging out with her. She was always the responsible one. Most of the times when they went out, she was the designated driver. And it was just at one of these barbecues, it was the last time her friends ever saw her. As the night was coming to an end, she was driving everyone home. Her friend had asked her if she wanted to sleep over, so she wouldn't have to drive all the way home. But she declined, saying she had to get dog food and get back to her dog. She was very responsible. The next day, she missed work. And her friends, they knew definitely something was wrong. 'Cause, this girl never, ever missed work. Ever. So they contacted her family, and her family immediately contacted the police because, she's never went missing for anything. She was 23 years old, and she still texted her mom at night letting her know, hey, this is where I'm going to be at, and everything's cool. But that text didn't come in that night. So the cops immediately tracked her phone, and it pinged right away to her car. And her car was located in this busy intersection where there was all kinds of little shops. Her car happened to be in front of the Little Caesars. So when the cops found the car, it was a pretty horrific scene. First of all, as they approached the car, it looked like the whole car had been covered in feces. Gross. They were afraid to open the door because it was over 90-something degrees that day and the humidity was intense. But when they did, it was even a worse scene. Jessica was brutally beaten. She had scratches all over her. You could tell she had been strangled. It was sad. They asked witnesses in the area, and several people stated that they had seen her throughout the day, several hours sitting in her car, being weird, doing weird stuff with her hands, and just looked like she was confused. They didn't know what's going on, but no one offered her any help. No one went over to see if she needed anything. God, that's why I hate society sometimes. Anyway, so she had to have died sometime after that in her car. So the cops checked all the CCTV footage from the night before, and they saw her going to the store, just like her friend had said, getting dog food, going back to her car. But then they noticed something strange. There was a man following her. He followed her all throughout the store, and then backed out through the parking lot. You could see him getting into her car, driving off, and then you see him coming back later, getting in his truck in the early morning hours, and driving away. So they tracked this man down. His name was Crispin. He had no problem coming in for an interview, and he said that him and Jessica had met on a pay-for-play site, and that they were just having a casual encounter. Her friends knew this was bullshit because she wasn't a hoe. But the times did match. He did leave her at a certain time. He was back at his truck. He did leave. She was seen on camera in front of the Little Caesars. So this really started to make cops question what was really going on. They thought because she was acting crazy in her car, maybe she was on drugs. So they sent in a toxicology report, a full 9-panel report. And it came back, you won't believe it, clean as a whistle. She had no drugs in her body. This just made the mystery even crazier. What could have happened? Then the autopsy report came out, and guess what it said? Death by strangulation and asphyxiation. So the cops were thinking the whole time that she died from the heat and the humidity. So this just shattered all of their thoughts. So how did she die of strangulation when the guy that apparently strangled her was gone hours before she died? This just did not make any sense, and the case grew cold, and years passed by. And then, by chance, a college professor did a study. It was a study on asphyxiation and strangulation. It's called death by choke. Look it up. What it is someone can get strangled so hard that they don't die right away. They're unconscious for a little bit and they seem dead, but they're actually still alive. They'll regain consciousness, but they're not all quite there. Their brain starts shutting down piece by piece by piece. So what had happened was, after he strangled her, he put her back in her car, and then he went back to his truck and left, thinking she was dead. She woke up a couple hours later, but she was basically halfway dead. Her brain had already started shutting down, so she was able to move her hands and move her face and move her body around. But if you would have tried to talk to her, she would not have been able to respond correctly. She would have been in like a weird daze. Her brain was slowly shutting down, and eventually it shut all the way down, all of her body parts as well. So that explains why there is feces all over her car. I mean, it was just a crazy mess in there. Let's just hope that her brain was totally shut down before her body did. The whole thing is just such a tragic, sad story. As soon as the cops got the autopsy report, they immediately arrested Crispin. He tried to lie and say that he was not involved in any way, but the facts showed otherwise. The whole trial process was even crazy. Once they got all the evidence, the first trial ended up being a mistrial because the DA mishandled all kinds of evidence, and the family was so concerned that he was going to get away. But 2 years later, they had a retrial, and they found him guilty on all counts, and they sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He's had like 4 appeals since then, none of them have went through. Looks like he's dying in jail, baby. Jessica Kalaher, our hearts go out to you. You died a horrible death. We hope no one has to go through that. May you rest in peace. I'll see you guys on the next one.